Yeah, generally I believe it is, but there is, of course, always that stigma of, oh, you're dating someone you met on the internet. Do you actually know who they are, what they look like, if their age is actually what they say it is? Like, there's always some caveat to it.
Hello, welcome to Metaverse Degen. I'm Lion. Oop, let me turn off the music too. Oops.
Oops. And I'm
Uh,
Old Man Raptor, and our guest is.
hey, I'm Solo.
Hello, thank you very much for joining us, Solo. It's an absolute honor to have you here, so thank you for your time.
Yes, very much
Of
so. Thank you
course.
for joining
Hmm.
us.
So, what is
Yes,
it you're
yes, yes.
what is it you're most known for, and how'd you get started with everything into VRchat?
What I'm most known for, oh gosh. Probably just being in all these different groups. No, my face pops around everywhere. All these big groups end up knowing me, either for better or for worse. I do a lot of photography, and yeah, nothing too special out there.
Oh, so you do photography. So, how'd you get into VRchat initially, and what brought you into photography as your hobby?
So roughly around like I think 2021 or something, I got myself a Rift S for Christmas before they stopped being produced, and I just saw this was free, hopped on, and well, now it's been quite a few years. Haven't been able to get off of it since.
Oh. So, what was some of your earlier experiences in VR chat like, and how did those lead you to doing photography here in VR?
So really, I just hung out in Publix a lot, and I found VRC Lens on Booth one day when I was learning how to make avatars. It was one of the easier things at the time to make, or not to make, to put onto an avatar because it installs itself. So I grabbed that and tried it out because back when I started VR chat, I was just getting out of high school and I was doing photography throughout high school. So I wanted to sort of keep that stuff fresh in my mind and see what I could do in VR, and I ended up pretty good.
Oh, okay. So,
Question for him, Lion.
shoot.
Question for him. What was the weirdest thing you ever saw when you came into VR?
uh, I the weirdest thing. Well, it wasn't with the rush of the Uganda Knuckles. That was before my time. Um, no, when I got on it was just when SDK3 was being announced. So all the new stuff with that was interesting to see, but I don't think I've really seen anything crazy or weird. Um, yeah, I think the weirdest would be just like going into random lobbies and just seeing everyone in the same avatar, just rushing everyone else that came in.
Oh,
That makes sense.
okay. So, after you got VRC lens, what about photography made you want to pursue that as a VR chat hobby in general? May I ask what about the experience stuck with you after getting lens?
Well, I really enjoy seeing what people can create, just either be it worlds or avatars, and just being able to sort of get that feeling of the work they've put into it and being able to share it in a more unique way. Like, well, everyone can take pictures. And I'm not saying I'm better than other people or not. Um, but yeah, VR chat, the camera at the time, it was before that update came out, so it really couldn't do much with focus. It didn't have a flying mode, if I remember. So you'd really just have to work with being up in someone's face, and everything would always be in focus at the same time. It wouldn't, give that great of a shot. It would just look like, oh, that's another game screenshot, not something more personal like highlighting what someone created or like a unique feature on an avatar.
Hmm. Oh. Okay. So how long was the learning experience after seeing the new VRChat system with Lens or using Lens? Was it something you were able to pick up quickly, or was there a bit of a learning curve to it?
So VRC lens, from what I've used, reminded me a lot of just a regular DSLR camera.
Hmm.
So that's what I was learning on in high school, and I was able to sort of pick it up real simply. I've worked with other people who've never touched like a fancy camera like that before, and they've just done what's on their phone. So for me, it wasn't tough, but I know for other people it is. And every world you go to or every avatar you capture, there's so much you can change and just make it look different. And that's just in game. And out, you have all this post processing stuff you can apply if you want to do that. So it's easy if you know what you're doing.
Mm.
The first step is learning Unity and putting it on the avatar.
Ooh. So you mentioned earlier that you were learning on a DSLR in high school. Do you have a history with photography outside of VR?
I do not. Honestly, this is photography in real life it's a very expensive hobby. You have to buy the camera, and I mean there are various ranges, of course. You can get like a standard camera that's maybe a couple hundred, or just use what's on your phone, which depending on how expensive your phone is, it's also like a few hundred to 1,000 or something. And then you come to the DSLRs, and those go just for the base alone, no lenses or anything. It's just like thousands of dollars.
Mm.
And then the lenses are a couple hundred to a couple thousand as well.
Oh
And so
wow.
doing it in VR chat makes it's much more affordable. VR chat itself, of course, is free, and a VRC lens, I believe, goes for $10. So you just get that and an avatar base, and you're right there. Uh, since I don't really have a great source of income, I can't afford a real camera besides what comes on my phone. And then it's just, I'm not the kind of person that just really wants to go outside, especially where I live. There's really not much to do photography for, besides just like wedding venues.
Hmm. Okay. So then, what have been some of your favorite photos you've taken here in VR chat, and what is it you get out of doing photography?
Oh man, I've taken so many great shots. um, what I enjoy the most about the photography here is just being able to meet people through it, and then from those connections I make, just meeting more people out of that. And like y'all do, you want to interview everyone in VR chat. Well, I think I'm there with you. And I want to photograph everyone in VR chat. Um, I offer people photo shoots, and they could be one-on-one stuff or group stuff or even event photography. I just recently, this weekend, was doing Corbell's Crystal Chasm Music Festival. I just joined his team, and me and about 8 others were just running around the whole time, taking photographs of everyone. And so that was fun to do because I've never been to a Corbell event. I barely know the dude still. But I was introduced to him through a connection I had made with one of y'all's previous guests, Scout the Goldie,
Hmm.
and the performers at his venue really enjoyed what I did there because I'm also on his team. And so I was recommended to Corbell's team by one of their performers. So it's just connections on connections on connections.
Oh wow. So, if that was your first event, what was it like for you doing your first event photography? What was it like, and how is it different from what you normally do?
Well, it wasn't my first event
Corb.
to
Ah.
do photography for. I've done it for many, many groups and even my own groups in the past. It's just Corbell's specifically.
Ah.
He's one of
Sorry
the
about that.
biggest. It's fine. He's one of the biggest groups in VR chat. Um, And for me, it could have been better.
Mm.
I don't have this great of a system, and as a trial photographer, I was required to use a specific avatar that they provided for me. That was supposed to be more optimized, and they had me take everything at 4K, which crazy file sizes, and just in an 80-person instance with no moderation on like the quality of avatars there. It was just everyone was very poor. It was very, very tough to do photography over there, but I still managed to get about 400-ish photos. Compare that to the regular photographers over there, and one of the other trial photographers, they take like thousands and thousands of them a day. So for me, it could have been better if they moderated the avatars some more. But outside of that, I don't usually do event photography. Like, so you're half right, half wrong in what you said. But I've done it in the past for different groups. There was this big group that I was in before called the Furry Event Community, and from what I last remember, they had like 2,000 something members. And then I did, of course, Enchanted, Beryllium, Scout, the Goldies stuff, and then just now Corbels. But I like staking one-on-one because it lets me, go these bigger, crazier worlds and actually survive most of the time. Yeah, it's unique because just the venues itself, like with Corbell's group, each venue is custom made. But there are other smaller groups where they use pre-existing venues. So you get to show off not only the people that showed up there, the performers, but also the world and the environment that no one else has seen before up till that point. And for some groups, they, just take the worlds off from public listing after the event's done. So it's like a sort of snapshot in just time itself. I mean, that's just what all photographs are. It's just a snapshot in time. But, it's, I don't know. It's hard to say it. But just capturing the people there, it's fun.
Okay. So
got another one form line.
Sarah?
What is one of the best pictures that you've ever got in here and you didn't think it was that good, but it came out better than what you thought in VR? What was the best one you had?
Oh, I'm a bit of an egomaniac. All my pictures are perfect, okay, Raptor? Every single one I take is exactly how I want it. Every single time.
Okay, but give me an example of which one you like the most. Everybody's got one favorite. Come on.
No, one that I like the most. That's oh man, I need to think for a minute for that one. Gosh. No, seriously, I'm not trying to be like.
It's
okay.
You're fine.
No,
you're
seriously.
fine. Seriously, you're perfectly fine.
One that came out better than I thought would is tough. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't want to leave dead air here for like 3 minutes while I think.
Well, you can always come back to it. You can always come back to it.
Sure,
I'm just picking.
sure.
I can pick your brain anytime. I'm just getting started here.
Of course. Of course. Yeah.
There you go.
Alrighty. Well, then I'll ask you the flip side. What your favorite is? What were some of the harder shots you've taken? Ones that you couldn't quite get right, or ones that took a while to get what you're looking for?
No, one of the harder ones. Okay, so a while back, one of my friends I did a photo shoot for. We went to this map that had zero gravity in some of the sections, And the way VRChat works with that is like once you jump in zero gravity, that's it. You know, that's real life too. But this map had some handholds, and then VRChat, for me at least, grabbing and holding onto stuff in a map. Like if I'm not looking at it, VRChat I guess doesn't realize I'm still holding. And so there was just this one time I was trying to take a photo from above. I'd jump and grab up in the map, and I'd hold there, have my camera in the other hand, and as I have to switch hands to grab the actual VRChat camera to take the photo, VRChat would not recognize that properly, and it would start flinging me either up or down. So VRC Lens does have a drone mode too, and I wanted to try and use that as well, but you know, I just get into this little um thing, and it's just like, no, I want to do it by hand and just hold it there in this awkward sort of VRChat grip. But no, it was a poor map for just that one shot, but a lot of the other ones were normal, and it actually worked out well.
Okay. So now, do you have any specific kind of worlds that you like more than most to take photos in? And do you like your brighter shots or darker shots? Lighting.
So I don't really mind what world it is as long as I get, you know, frame rate in it. That's that's really the main thing that matters to me.
Hmm.
There's on VRC Lens, it has exposure control, which is something the regular VRChat camera does not, and it's very, very powerful in what it can do, because I can go into a very dim map and you light up like you would here.
Hmm.
And I can control it, of course. The composition trying to. I don't really have a favorite per se. I mean, you can do compositions in like a very desaturated or dimly lit map with an avatar that's super bright and, you know, show certain themes through that. And the same thing with the other thing. You could have a completely desaturated avatar in a very bright map like this, and that shows sort of the same type of themes. I don't know. It's tough to say.
Hmm. Okay. So instead of having a specific favorite world, what are some worlds that you took good shots in over time? Anything particular you like? Any environments that stick out to you?
Oh man, I don't keep good track of names, but I can go through my list here. um, because honestly, I have hundreds upon hundreds of maps. Um, I don't know. Do you want to like have me drop a portal and you show that or something,
uh,
or we get like a link later?
if you could give me a link later if you want, and we can put it in the description for people to find. That's easy
Yeah,
enough.
yeah. One of the ones I really like is this massive map, actually made by this map's creator as well, called Ruan Garden. It
Hmm.
is this beautiful, massive map that has this very nice day-night cycle that takes about an hour to run through. And it's just got so many little nooks and crannies to take photos in, and all the lighting is real time, so you can watch your shadow go across the ground with the sun, and then the moon is just absolutely massive in that map.
Hmm.
And it's this really nice sort of thing where if you have your avatar's shaders set up through like Poyomi or something to have your emissions come on in the dark, you'll be going through the map with someone, and if you're there like the full hour, you'll get to experience just the normal and then how they look in the dark, and those lead to really nice shots as well.
Hmm.
Um, it's got a lot of very very photogenic spots in it. Um,
Hmm.
I've actually fallen asleep in that map once or twice. Not for long because it wakes me back up after about an hour. So you know.
Okay.
but it's beautiful.
Alrighty. I'm glad you have a map that you think is really good for a bunch of different facets. And I'll ask you another question more about you as well. What have been some of your favorite memories you've made in VRChat or taking photographs?
Mm. So, way back when I started, I didn't know anybody like everyone else usually. Um, the like probably the first month or so, I didn't have any actual like friend group I was in. Um, until just randomly one day, this woman, she comes up to me and she she said she really liked how my vibe was, um, and she introduced me to her friend group. And turns out most of her friend group is Mexican or other Latin American, whatever people, citizens. I don't know. Yeah, they're all a bunch of Spanish speakers. I don't speak Spanish, and then turns out her fiance at the time, he was there too. He comes up to me and he introduces me to his group, which hopefully I can get him on here later. He's one of the co-creators of, at the time, VRLFP, virtual reality looking for partner, which nowadays is known as Flirtual.
Oh,
Um, yeah, so I met his fiance, and she was like one of the first people I ever friended in the game, and then that group is probably like the main reason I'm in the game still. I think it was in a midnight rooftop we met. Yeah, something. Um, but she doesn't play the game as much anymore. Um, and I only see now her husband. Um, I only see him on at our events once a week.
ooh. So you do stuff with Flirtual and mask what they are.
Yeah, so Flirtual, or as it was known back then, VRLFP, is the competitor to Nevermet.
Hmm.
We are technically the first VR dating platform, and Nevermet is a very close second, but from what I hear, the user count's higher. I doubt that though. We have over 100,000 registered users now on our site and about 6,000 in our Discord. But I host um, one set of the weekly events,
Hmm.
and those are just from a little list we have. It's our speed matching, or a hangout, a DJ night, or just like game nights. Yeah. And then we have a few other event hosts that host either the European time zone events, which are from the same list, or our weekly bar nights. So,
Cool.
yeah.
I
um,
oh.
it, it,
Oh, please continue. I'm sorry.
Go on.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, no, you're fine. You're fine. Go on.
Well, I had no idea that Flirtual did VR events. I thought it was just an app you go in and meet people with. That's pretty awesome. I didn't know. I had no idea.
Yeah, so we're an app and a website and a big Discord group, and we do VR events. Um, I'd like to say we get good turnouts for of like the size we are, of over 100,000 on the site and over 6,000 in the Discord, but it's a dating service. It's a majority of very shy dudes and um, not that many women. So, people, when we have our speed matching, we get a nice turnout. People tend to be very quiet and awkward and introverted, and that puts them off of coming from more events, even though they don't have that connotation at all. That's what we
Hmm.
want. Is it's just we're not only for finding a romantic partner, but we're also a friend finding service. So we'd like for, people to show up, make friends, and I mean we do have our regulars. We have regulars on our Discord and we have regulars in game.
Hmm.
From from our popularity, we have gained a nice large user base of scam bots that I wish we didn't have. But that comes with every dating platform. Luckily, though, they're easy to pick out on our platform because we tend to have users, just like Never Met, use VRchat photos of their avatars instead of IRL photos.
Hmm.
So when you see new accounts created that are only IRL photos, that's like guaranteed to be a fake account. Um, but yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in Flirtual. I'd like to have more stuff as well, but it's just since we're an actual company at the same time, I'm not able to say as much as I can.
Understand.
I have been signed to certain documents, you know.
Fair. Well, feel free to tell me to
One thing
bugger.
you don't want me to get. You sure in the hell don't want me to go in there if they're quiet. I'd screw that up.
I don't know, maybe for the best if you showed up and actually stirred some chaos and got people talking.
Oh God, I could do that early. Yeah, do you have a morning thing when I'm drinking coffee? That'd really screw them up. My God, what happened
No.
here?
Maybe while we're there, we can
Ah,
find you a partner,
damn.
Mr. Raptor.
Yeah.
God, I feel sorry for whoever that might be.
Oh, come on. It can't be that bad, can it?
You know, Raptor
You want
says
me to
it's
answer
worse.
that?
Raptor says it's worse than it is, but I think he's just playing himself down to trying to deter people. I think secretly he's shy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right. What? What the hell? Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so shy. I'm afraid of the dark too. But if somebody turned the light on, it's like little cockroaches going everywhere. Yeah, right. It doesn't work that way. Sorry. No.
Welcome to your worst nightmare.
We've been watching,
And we know what's scared.
this Halloween. The isn't
Just
Noise. It's your darkest fear.
too.
If you dare.
So,
Well, I mean, hey.
oh, no, you can. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, hey. I mean, who are you looking for? You looking for a guy, a girl, someone in between, someone not even there? I don't know. We got everyone. We got from the youth, the 18-year-olds, all the way up to I think we had like 2 or 3 people in their 60s, honestly.
Oh, wow.
Well, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. That's cool. That's good to know.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I'm looking for somebody that matches my height and doesn't sit on me.
I wonder who does that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so yeah.
Anyway,
Oh yeah, BS. Yeah, back to you, Mr. BS over there. Yeah.
mhm.
That's cool.
I didn't know there was a wide age range of people who use a Flirtual. What was it like seeing that whole thing unfold and the various people coming in?
Oh man, well, I joined, I think, back when we were reaching about 20 or 30,000 members.
Hmm.
Um, so I've seen it grow, and we grow really fast. And I mean, I hope it's actual people and not artificial accounts, and it's just a bunch of spam bots. But you never know with these things. Um, with us also, being a dating service publicly listed here in VRChat, we do get our fair share of breakups or weird accusations from people. Um, I mean, it comes with every sort of dating service. Nevermit's got their own stuff, I'm sure.
Hmm.
But no, I mean, I believe, yeah, Virtual came out as VRLFP at first back in 2018. Now it's about what, 6 years, 5, 6 years in, so almost half a decade old, which is crazy to think about because from what I know, a lot of companies don't get that far, especially not tech startups. But I, like I said, I'm an event host. I used to also be on the moderation side of things. I've sort of taken a step back from that for now, though, as I'm
Hmm.
just being added to all these other groups. It's not something I can really manage at this time.
Hmm.
But no, it's been fun seeing it just grow, but there's been drama that I've seen, some that I've been a part of. They don't want me to be a part of drama, of course, but it happens. I
Hmm.
mean, for me, right now, it's going good. I mean, I've met my current partner through it, all things considered, and
Oh.
that makes my bosses happy over there. But yeah, like I said, can't say too much.
Well, you don't have to share a whole lot, to be honest. So I do have one question though. What is it? How? Sorry, let me find my words. Here we go. How are the virtual events differ from what the other services you provide, and what is the general reaction from the VR chat populace from what you see?
I mean, like I said, our events are really not that different from everyone else's. We do
Hmm.
game nights, we do speed matching. That's sort of the main virtual thing. We have our own map for it. We used to use some community maps, but if you've ever been to No Time to Talk, it uses that same system because we had that same creator help us make our map, and I believe it's either licensed out or we bought um, a copy of it or something to use for our map. And then our DJ nights, they're not that crazy. They're not like Corbell's stuff, like I mentioned, or Highweight or some other clubs, that go all into the night. No, we bit short. We were usually around 3 hours. Um, our hangouts are very, very casual. If anything, that gets the most people, I believe. Um, and we just go to some map like this, and it's a hangout. We just chill and talk.
Hmm.
And then we have our bar nights where we have our own sunset bar. Um, one of these staff members we have on our team with our website development also helped out make the website for Sunset Bar and Jinxie as well, the
Oh wow.
marketplace. So he's known pretty well as well throughout the community for website stuff.
Hmm. Wow. And when Flirtual started coming about and becoming more prominent as a company, what was the VR chat's response, like the player base's response to Flirtual and the events and the service?
I haven't really heard much out of the player base from it. There are what I've seen on like Reddit. There are just posts of us, banning people, uh, wrongly or something, and they get upset about that, and then that's about the end of it. Um, like I said, I think overall we're sort of just neutral in the community.
Okay.
It's not something that you hear much about people saying in like public instances or whatnot. I mean, you see our posters in a lot of worlds next to Nevermet as well. Nevermet just has a higher advertising budget than we do. Um, but yeah, I don't really know too much of the public opinion.
Okay. What
I'm
does it have
not
to
really
be
one of the social team members.
Oh no, you don't have to like tell me the exact thing. Just like people that you've talked with, or at the events, what kind of conversation you had with, oh, this is a great event. I've been able to find partners, stuff like that is fine too.
Yeah, we do have our fair share of success stories. Um, people, I don't know, with our events, it's really not sort of like I said, it's not really pushed on to people to make a partner right then and there. That's more of what our website itself is for. Um, People do enjoy our events. We keep them in group pluses, sort of to help mitigate, we're an 18 plus service. Legally, we have to be. So VRChat itself is 13 plus, but we moderate it all our instances. So we do our best to keep, trolls and underage kids out. Um, but yeah, people aren't usually thinking about how it's going, I believe. I think it's more, oh gosh, this guy's talking to me. What do I say? Or this girl's talking to me. Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. Because the majority of people that show up really haven't had a long-term relationship before, from what I can tell. And I mean, there's that whole stigma, at least from a few people I know, that they say, oh yeah, VR chat couples, it's always like, hey, we just met. 2 hours later, hey, we're a couple now. And then 2 more hours later, hey, we're getting married. And then the next day, we broke up. And it's just like a super high throughput or something. I don't know.
I've seen a few memes and jokes online about that. Of VR chat is speed running relationships.
Yeah, exactly. I
Hmm.
mean, it's a great tool if you do manage to get a nice long-term relationship because, before VR chat, I mean, it was possible to have long-term relationships ever since we invented mail. um, but VR chat is great because one, it's free, besides if you want to get a headset. If you have a computer, you can play VR chat. But yeah, you can play it. It's really accessible to anyone. You can match with anyone anywhere in the world through, our site. We have lots of either Asian and American matches or like American and European matches. We have people in Europe matching with people in South America, all over, and they can stay connected really close and easily through VRChat itself. I mean, you see all these sleep groups and sleep worlds and whatnot. Well, a lot of those are taken up by couples, from what I've seen. And so it's, hey, my partner lives over here in Europe. I live here in the States, and for about 3 hours in the middle of the night, I can hang out with them or something. And it's nicer than just a call on Discord because, there's that feeling of connection and you can interact with their avatar. And it's not a perfect analog to, actual face-to-face contact, but it's a lot better than just either sitting behind a screen on a webcam call or just a regular phone call with them.
Hmm. Wow. Well, how do you feel about using VR as a medium today? Do you think it's a good addition for tools for long distance relationships?
Yeah, generally I believe it is, but there is, of course, always that stigma of, oh, you're dating someone you met on the internet. Do you actually know who they are, what they look like, if their age is actually what they say it is? Like, there's always some caveat to it. Um, but I think it's just, generally, it's just great for accessibility. Because
Hmm.
you can, there's disabled people all over. And with VR, they can walk around with you. You can take them to wonderful maps. I know there's one or two maps that have this prefab where you can hold the other person's hand and it actually moves their avatar with you. So, creating bonds like that where it'd be a lot harder to in person is something that I think is really what VRChat's about.
Okay. I have another random question that's related to both of the things we've talked about. Do you take photos at your Flirtual events?
I used to, way, way back when we actually got a lot more people. Like, I think, 2 years ago now? Yeah, we used to get way more people at speed matching, and back when we first started, our speed matching was the only events we would do every week, and we'd always take a picture at the end. Um, but with how the map is set up now, it's a bit harder to sort of take photos of everyone that shows up, because the way it works is you enter our map, we have our little rules and our instructions, and then you walk through a door that puts you in a room isolated from everyone else for about 30 seconds if it just started. Um, you have this wall on your left that has all these tags on it from No Time to Talk. It's pretty much the exact same. And then you get matched with someone, and then both of you are just isolated in the environment. There's no feature I have to sort of show up next to the person that's like already in a match. So the only times we can is at the end of the events. But with how many people come in and out, or just stay off in a corner nowadays, it's real tough to get good photos. I also don't want to, sort of intrude on people that maybe are hitting it off and then, making it awkward or ruining like what blow they had going. So I tend not to with speed matching. And then with DJ nights, it's the same sort of vibe, but add in half the people in the instance being either drunk or stoned. So it's real tough to get someone to stand still for a photo when they're, barely able to talk.
I
But
can
it's
understand.
fun nonetheless, and I have, from the past, I have a lot of photos, but recently, no.
Okay. So, how did you end up in a position at running events with Flirtual from taking photos and going to events like that?
I wouldn't say I run Flirtual.
No. Like I don't say run
No.
Flirtual. How'd you get to hosting events, not running Flirtual?
Oh, hosting
Like
events. Okay,
doing
okay.
events like that.
Yeah, like I said, I only was able to learn about Flirtual because of one of the co-creators' fiance at the time. And I just stayed active in the group and the community long enough, when we were still small enough that they just said, "Hey, you seem like a good fit. Why don't you join us?" And I just went with it because, I mean, at the time I didn't have any groups I was big in like that. Um, so I just went with it, and I've been with it ever since. Um, it's not too tough to get on our team nowadays. We did just finish up a little recruitment effort and got about, I think, 6 people on our team now. So those are going to be fun to me. I know they all come from our community. It's just some of the names I don't see too often in it.
Hmm.
But yeah, just being active in the community, and I mean that goes for any community really. It's just be active, be friendly, and befriend the staff and the owners, and they'll let you right in. Open arms. No.
Okay. So after doing photos and doing events with Corbell, Goldie Lounge, and being with Flirtual, have you viewed VRChat any differently than when you started?
I mean it's grown a lot. Um, like VR chat, it just I don't know, you don't hear too much about it in like general like media sense. Like way back, like in what was it, 2018, 2019, when crypto stuff exploded and everyone was talking about the metaverse, that sort of overshadowed what VR chat is, which is probably right now the best we'll get to a metaverse. Um, as like everyone in that space expected. And I believe myself and a lot of other people are glad VR chat didn't go in that direction of monetizing every little thing.
Hmm.
I know they are trying to now with the creator economy, but it's a much better way than it would be through crypto or NFTs and the like, because VR chat is just straight cash. You'll get the deposit of however much you want, and then the corresponding VR chat bucks or whatever it's called. And from what I've read, the small amount of creators right now that do have access to it, it takes, I believe, 60 days for them to get a payout. So I believe they have to reach like $100 first, and then afterwards $25 every month. I think it's very similar to Twitch's payouts. So it's much better than just some crazy fluctuating cryptocurrency or something.
Hmm.
But viewing VRChat differently, I don't think so, honestly. I don't think I've been around long enough to sort of view a difference. Um, I just think it's grown, and it's grown in a good way.
Hmm. It does seem with a lot of what VRChat's doing, especially the creator economy, it seems a lot more thoughtful than some of the other attempts at monetizing the VR space. There is the one of them, which is Second Life, which did it well. But if, in terms of like VR and VRChat, I think it's a bit more thoughtful than it was with the Metaverse Bros.
Definitely.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, we can go on a whole tangent of just why I at least believe that stuff is all just scams. Um, and just it's unregulated, uninsured, and anyone can do it if they know like a few little steps.
Mm.
It's just it ends up with fraud all over the place, and it's a mess. I would not.
Okay. So when you take, so we're gonna go back to photos again. When you take your photos of people, individuals, or events, or specific things, what are some of your favorite types of shots or things you like to capture, and why?
Some favorite types of shots. Probably just getting couple shots. So, one person would book the photo shoot with me, and then they'd ask if they could bring their partner along, and I'm completely fine with that because it's like I'm not billing per person. I'm just honestly, my photo shoots are just there to keep my website up and running, which we can get into later.
Mm.
But just taking couple shots is something I really enjoy, coming from Flirtual as well. I like seeing people happy and being there to capture those moments for them. When otherwise they'd just be, hey, remember last week when we did that? And it's like, no, here's the pictures. And um, just if you can get the right angles, it really helps bring those sort of photos to life. Um, Other than that, I just like taking photos in general. I'm not really ever too concerned about how the shot is set up or how specific it is. It's just if I think it's good, it's good. And like I was saying earlier, Raptor, every photo's perfect. Every single one I take.
Understandable. Very understandable. I'm still trying to catch one thing, and I
Yes.
just can't. Nothing against the photos, but where he said there was a world that you could hold hands.
Hmm.
What are they gonna do? Just carry me around like a kid holding a doll?
They hold you like a doll. Hold you with her and hold
Yeah,
your
I'd be.
whole body in their hand. It'd be adorable.
That's
I mean,
not
you are
what.
the size of like a chew toy, so what do you expect?
Wow. Well, folks, been here today that the chew toy actually speaks. Watch out who you feed it to, because guess what? It might bite back. Um, Back to the question I have. Sorry, the question you said that all of them are, but you can't. Is there a certain way do you see it in your head that when you take the shot? I know you don't. What you said is you just, that you don't. You just take the picture and just go with the flow of things. But is there one of those? What you can't? Is there one picture that you've caught that you didn't expect to be there?
Uh, I don't really think so. No. Um,
Okay.
Mainly what I do, like, I don't know, you could sort of describe it as still life or like street photography in a sense as well.
Hmm.
Because I like getting people when they're chatting with their friends or like right there in the moment where you can actually see, their mouth move in game. Because avatars, unless you got face tracking, there's really not that much emotion they show if they're not doing a certain gesture. But at the same time, it's like, well, that is the only thing their face can do then. So it's best when you get them talking and in between gestures and stuff like that. So you get that sort of unique thing that the avatar isn't really supposed to do in a sense, but you capture. Sort of like photos when you sneeze or something. Um, there's no blur with VRChat photos. It is just instant, just a screenshot. Um, I wish there was blur. I know there's like one camera someone's tried to make, but I don't ever have any use out of that, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. Um,
Like a blur feature
but
in a
no,
camera? I know the VRchat camera has a blur feature.
no. I'm talking about motion blur
Ah, okay.
when you're moving or whatnot. Because I know a lot of photos I've been taking recently is of performers.
Hmm.
So Corbell's whole event, it was split. Half the day was live performances with singers and whatnot. Then the other half was DJs. And a lot of DJs are just sort of either in desktop mode or they're not actually in game because they're focused on their mixing consoles and whatnot. But um, for some reason, I have this knack for getting avatars to look at my camera. Um, Especially with like a lot of people don't have actual eye tracking. It's just what VRChat does that gives this sort of effect that it's eye tracked. And so if you can get someone in the crowd talking with people and then they like give you that sort of side eye, that's always a really fun shot to get because when you show it to that person afterwards, it's like, how did you do that? I don't have eye tracking like that. And it's like, well, that's just what VRChat decided. And so, hey, It looked good. I got it.
It must be really hard to get good-looking, realistic-ish shots with VR, from the sounds of it, with limitations that avatars in VR has.
Yeah, it is an issue. It's mainly also why I focus more on just furry avatars.
Hmm.
Because from what I've seen with just like the regular human avatars, not that many have actual really well expressive faces on them, either with or without face tracking, or just stone faced, a lot of them. But furry avatars, on the other hand, those are always really just animated well, and just they sort of pop, and you know what they're doing because you sort of have to change how their faces work just to sort of have us as people understand the emotion.
Mm.
Because like with a regular human face, you can tell from, the little subtle changes. But these don't exist. Like, yeah, you could look at a fox, but it's like you can't equate an animal's behavior to a human's behavior, like just off their face.
Mm.
It is interesting, and just like I said, that's why I like getting what people create, because yeah, all these other photos are of real people in real life, and you know what a person looks like.
Mm.
Or it's just like a dog that's happy wagging its tail. It's like you don't see what that would be like if the dog if the dog stood up. No, it's unique. Yeah.
Okay. So I have another question in the same vein of taking photos. In your, we've talked with a few photographers, and it does seem the various photographers have different styles in which I'd like taking photos and then post processing, with like doctoring up or non-doctoring up. Where do you sit with how you engage with your craft?
So I only do stuff in game. Any changes I do are through the VRC lenses, various little features, and filters on there. I don't do anything afterwards on post, besides rotate the images so they're, I don't send you sideways photos. Um, I have the ability to do post processing, but it's just with the volume I take, it's sort of something in there looks good to both of us. I'm just gonna give you everything I took, and you pick out what you like. I get rid of all the blurry stuff beforehand, and yeah, I leave it to the person that gets the photos to do their post processing, because like I'm only there to capture it. If you want to touch it up, go for it. All I'm asking for is some credit for taking it in the first place.
Okay. Okay. That's quite interesting, because the few people we've talked with generally ends up, well, we've had some people who like doing the all natural stuff, but I find it interesting that you do it that way. At least I personally do, because I know there are a lot of world photographers out there that do doctor up their photos in order to make it look nicer or brighter, and they do look fantastic. Although I do like the all natural stuff
Oh
as well.
yeah.
Hello, we're here to interrupt the most interesting thing being said in our current video to ask you a favor, which is, would you mind joining us at any of the socials we have, such as Discord? We're hanging out all the time playing video games, so you can catch us there very frequently. We have I run Twitter for us, which is LionTurtle21 on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. It'll always be Twitter, but either way, there's that. We also have a Patreon, which we actually have a whole other show for our Patreon members, which are Aliquum and the newest addition to the bunch, Future Oracle,
Niche, and Forbidden Zero, good friends of ours.
Yeah, thank you very much, you guys, for joining. It means a whole lot that you're there, and hope to see you there as well. We have a whole other show. There are some free ones we have released as well for the audio for you to listen to and to see what it's like. It's like a whole other show, so thank you. With that said, please enjoy the rest of your podcast on YouTube.
Yeah, there are people that have a talent for touching up photos as well as just taking them. Like I said, I just want people to get photos that they're happy with at first without needing to do anything better. Because going back again, every photo is perfect. At least if I take them. But yeah,
Okay.
you know.
So, what was some of the first things you were doing that got you into photography, and what were those first like photos or more official starting events like for you? Not like events like Corbell, but events like the thing you were doing to take photos in.
Yeah, I would just go to public instances and just take images of the people that were there. Um, a little after I started, I ended up getting, a couple hundred photos a month, and it's like, this is great, but sharing them through Discord takes a while. So I started looking at other solutions for like image hosts, and one of them that came up is this one called ImageBB, um, and that site works great for like the first 1,000 photos. What I've noticed and what other people that have been using it that I know have noticed is after about 1,000 photos, they start putting your stuff in their deep storage, and it doesn't load up anymore right at the bat. But before I reached that cap, I would make albums on there and share them with the people I would take photos with in public. And people always enjoyed being able to just have everything there and sharing individually without having to go through a mile-long Discord DM full of images.
Okay. So, what about those early days led you to do what you're doing now with photos? Why continue?
I mean, my sort of bill hasn't changed at all. I just enjoy taking photos of people. I mean, there's new worlds every day, there's new avatars every day, and there's new people every day to meet. And so it's sort of this endless sort of supply of just people to see, worlds to explore. Everyone's different. Everyone has their own unique style about them, their own characters, or how they hold themselves. And it's just really fun to be able to capture that and just, have. Well, no, that would sound weird if I said, have a collection of people in my image dungeon. No. Yeah, no, it's nice to, capture the moment and be able to look back on it and say, oh, I remember that, and that was with this person when I met them. And you can see, if it's like someone you regularly hang out with, you can see over time how they change in VRChat or how VRChat itself changes them as a person. I mean, I've completely changed because back when I first started, I did not know anything about Unity. I didn't have any ability to make my own avatar, so I would ask friends for help a lot of the time, and I learned how to make an avatar off of this base, which isn't really a base at all.
Oh.
But yeah, this is an old SDK2 dynamic bones avatar.
Recognize that avatar.
You've probably seen it.
I have an
You've
avatar
probably
that
seen it on
uses that
VR
base.
Labs.
I've seen it in a cursed avatar, actually. It's an anime spider girl using that base where the neck is
Oh,
elongated.
gosh.
There's like 8 legs attached to it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I learned how to do everything like for avatars in Unity on this. I had hundreds of different versions of this uploaded. And then over time I just got into furry avatars because I saw the rec seem around a lot. And let me switch back. that's how this came about. And this is the culmination of like 2.5 years of just working on avatars every week and figuring stuff out. And in that time, tools like VRC Fury came out, and that made life so much easier. And to this day, I still don't know anything about Blender. That is like the one thing I will not touch. Oh my god.
What's so bad about Blender?
Oh my god, where do I start? Well, first, they put this stupid cube in every time I open it. No.
Fair, I understand. So how long? Sorry, do you still work on your avatars now, or is that something you do just for yourself, or do you create stuff with other things?
So, I do still make all my own avatars, in the sense of I get the base and I get the clothing and like any other little accessory and put it on myself. Um, I do my own retextures as well now. That was like the second thing I learned, and I learned that out of spite. um, Now, I learned how to do retexturing because of my ex. Because back when I first met them, that was sort of when I was getting into Rexium and furry avatars in general. And so they used to do all my texture work. And then when they cheated on me and dumped me, and all this other nasty stuff, they started selling the retextures they made for me on Gumroad. And they're still up today. I still see them from time to time as I'm scrolling through assets. So that's fun. But yeah, after that, I just was like, I'm not letting anyone else do that to me anymore. And I went through and I learned how to texture, and I make all my own stuff.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
Okay. So between between everything we've talked about so far, what have been some of the harder things you've learned and why? And how did you overcome them?
Well, everything comes back to Unity. Can't have avatars without that. Yeah, that it was a hassle to learn, but I think I got it pretty quickly. Back in the day with that other avatar I pulled out, when I first bought that and like opened Unity, I didn't know what to do. I imported it by just dragging it in, and then I was like, okay, now where is it? And I see the YouTube video, the avatar's already there, but mine's empty. Where is it? So it took at least like another hour just to figure out, okay, I gotta go in this folder and click that thing and that thing there, and then it shows up. And then it's like, it starts all over again. Okay, now what? How do I change it? How do I add stuff to it? How do I upload it? And can I upload it? Because it's like, oh, you're still a new user, or you're a visitor, not a user yet. So, that's an interesting thing too. It's like you could come into VRChat knowing how to do Unity and Blender and all this stuff, but not be able to use it until you've played VRChat and like friended enough people for VRChat to say, okay, you're not crazy. Here you go. I mean, man, yeah, back when I was first starting, it was before EAC and, the golden days, as everyone says, where you can just mess with anything. But yeah, no, it was just learning Unity was annoying at first. But once you get going and you find the right tutorials, you can get into it really quickly.
Okay. So, last few questions before we start wrapping this up a little bit. First is the name that you have. Where did you get it, and why do you still use it?
Oh, this is actually my second display name. So my first one started off. Well, technically it'd be the third because the migration is like your second one. Okay, the first one was my actual first name, and then a bunch of random numbers behind it, and then VRChat's little discriminator. And I had been using that thing for like all these other websites. Then I got this one here from a different game I used to play a lot, which was Elite Dangerous. And that's a massive space, one-to-one scale type game where it's the entire galaxy set 1,000 years in an alternate future. But my name in that was a combination of how I played. So I played by myself, so that's solo. I was flying all around in a spaceship, so that's flying, and then I'd fight off a lot of space pirates. So it was solo flying fighter, and then you mash those together, and you get solo flighter, and then you cut that in half, and you get solo. And then I just put the 2 exclamation marks on for fun. And now you can even use exclamation marks, I believe, with usernames.
Really? So you
Yeah.
interesting.
I got a fancy name.
You have a unique name that people can't get now.
Yeah. No, if you look up solo, though, you'll see hundreds of different solos in VRChat. It's just, I think back in the day, too, this double exclamation mark in some coding languages is, it tells the code to stop. So I think this was breaking the search bar, just having 2 exclamation marks back to back. So I was invisible.
Good to know. And then the last question is the avatar you're in. Why do you use it, and is there anything about it or features on it that have any meaning to you?
This is just one of my many Rexes. I have a lot of different, common furry bases that I've retextured to be this character. I'm just using this one now because it's one I just had earlier when I was on. And, I mean, I have, let's see, I can do this and change my texture entirely.
Whoa.
And feel cybernetic. I have a bunch of different little features I've thrown on this just throughout my time in VRChat. But no, it's either usually I'm in my Rexiums or a Nova Beast. And I've got like 8 different Rexiums and probably 20 Nova Beasts. So yeah, it's mainly just for different sets of outfits, because, if you put everything on one avatar, that just doesn't work, especially not with the limited face tracking that I have. I only use mouth tracking. That takes up a lot of parameter space as well, so it's like, I can't have all the clothing toggles on one. But yeah, no, there's nothing too special besides it's who I am in VR.
Okay. Well, again, Solo, thank you very much for coming on. It's an absolute pleasure getting to meet you, hear about everything from your pictures to what you do with Flirtual. So thank you for your time. It's been an honor. Thank you.
Been an honor.
Yeah, of course.
Enjoyed it. I'm down here. We're here, buddy.
There you are.
There you are.
All right.
Fucking
Well, yeah, if that's everything, I mean, you're not gonna use it. I'll just take that shoot away from you. But yeah, thanks for having me on.
Oh, before
Wait, man.
hey, wait, before you go, where can the audience find you if they wish to find you?
You can find me on Twitter at SoloFlighter, FLIGHTER101. Yeah, that's probably the best place to get me, or my Linktree, which is same thing, Linktree/SoloFlighter. Yeah, all my stuff's listed on there.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And before we pass this off to Mr. Raptor here to close us out, I'll ask you, the audience, a question. What is your favorite photo and why? You don't have to post your photo, just tell us about it, and we'd love to hear the story behind it. Let us know in the comment section, and everything else from Solo's, all the links from Twitter and the link tree will be in the description, as well as some other fun stuff. And with that said, Mr. Raptor, you know the thing.
You know it. Like they say, folks, and no matter what, when you take a picture, it's always worth a 1,000 words. Well, this 1,000 words when you take a picture of me is getting the hell out of here because he thinks I'm a fucking chew toy. Bye.